Okay, so with Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon returning to Philly this week, several Eagles sounded off on their former defensive coordinator, including Nick Sirianni, who made sure to make it clear that Gannon is not welcome back in the city of Philadelphia. Also, Jason Kelce shut down any notion of there being any locker room issues, despite the sideline drama we saw last week. But what's going on with A.J. Brown is, once again, he refused to speak to the media. And also, could the Eagles potentially try to extend running back DeAndre Swift soon? Well, we're going to talk about all that and more in this video today, so let's not waste any time and get straight into it. Well, Christmas is now sadly over, and I hope everybody had a great time spending time with family and getting some cool stuff, but nothing's really cooler than seeing Jalen Hurts do something like this. As he stopped by the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia to brighten some of the patients' holidays, he did some arts and crafts with the kids, he gave out some awesome gifts, and he was just able to hang out with the kids and make their Christmas season just a little bit better. And honestly, stuff like this really just shows you how good QB1's character really is. So shout out to Jalen, and drop a like down below for him doing this. Now, Hurts obviously just isn't winning off the field, he's winning on it. Most recently breaking Cam Newton's record for the most rushing touchdowns by a quarterback in a single season, as he just got his 15th in the Eagles' win over the Giants. Now we know that Jalen was able to break this record largely because of the brotherly shove or tush push or whatever you want to call it, as 11 of those 15 rushing touchdowns from Hurts came from the 1-yard line and are a result of that play. But we obviously know that Jalen does that better than anybody else anyway, but you still have people trying to discredit him, saying that the record somehow isn't impressive just because a lot of the touchdowns have come off that one play. But Cam Newton himself isn't having that, as when he got the chance to comment on Hurts breaking the record, he gave the Philly QB some love, saying, quote, "When I see Jalen Hurts doing what he's supposed to do, what am I gonna say? Oh, he has a lot of help? Hell nah. Man, break all them. That's what they're there for. Man, I hope that does happen. Shatter that. Man, I didn't play the game for records, my impact was felt. Jalen Hurts, you're doing an unbelievable job." Man, shout out to Cam for giving Hurts credit like that. And look, I'm not going to act like it wouldn't be more impressive if every time Hurts scored a rushing touchdown, it was him just freestyling, making some incredible play on the fly, which we have seen him do before plenty of times, but at the same time, nobody else in NFL history has accomplished this, so you can't say it's not impressive, because it really is, and I'm not going to stand for people saying that it's not, because that's just deliberate Jalen Hurts and Philadelphia Eagles hating. And honestly, the dominance of the brotherly shove itself is just super impressive. I mean, every time the Eagles get down to the 1-yard line, you know that play is coming, and it works every single time. The defense can't stop it, even though they know it's coming. And at times it's funny, because you almost got to feel for DeAndre Swift, because it feels like he gets tackled on the 1-yard line all the time, and then you know what's coming after that. He's not getting the ball back. And funny enough, Jason Kelce actually spoke on this on his podcast.
Every time DeAndre Swift gets tackled at the 1, I just look at him in the huddle, I'm like, I'm so sorry, man. Like, you know exactly what we're about to do, and like,
you gotta eat it, man. You gotta eat it. It's 92% best play.
Swift, newsflash: go down at the 2 or get in the end zone. Don't go down at the 1, because it is 100% the next play we're running. If you go down at the 2, we'll probably run inside zone again.
Yeah, man, it's fun to watch him run the ball, though, man. Golly.
It is.
Now, in all seriousness, Travis Kelce made a good point there at the end. DeAndre Swift is super fun to watch run the football, and you gotta wonder if the Eagles could be looking to extend him soon. I mean, Swift has been really, really good for the Eagles this year. It seems like he always has a big hand in the team winning games. We've seen multiple times this year when the offense has been dead, Swift starts to get the ball, and he completely turns things around. And just last week, he was a huge reason that the Eagles were able to win that game, as in the second half, when the Birds really started to give him the ball, he was the driving force of that Eagles offense that allowed them to get some points and eventually come out with the win. And moving down the stretch of the season, he definitely needs to continue to get a lot of touches and be a focal point of the Eagles offense, because I feel like really all season, he probably hasn't been utilized quite correctly. I'd still like to see him more in the receiving game, but whether the Birds decide to use him more like that or not, he just needs to continue to touch the ball a lot, because he's a game changer, and he's someone that I hope the Eagles keep around for a while. I mean, this is purely speculation. I'm not saying that there's any sort of news that the Eagles are working on an extension with Swift right now, at least recently, because there was that report a while back, before the season even started, that the Eagles wanted to do a short-term extension with him, but what I am saying is that that report should remain true after seeing how good Swift has been in this Eagles offense when he gets opportunities, and the Eagles really need to do what they can to keep him around after this year, although I am a little worried that some other team is going to want to pay Swift more in free agency if we do get to that point, but that's a conversation for another day. But what do you guys think? Should the Eagles extend DeAndre Swift? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Now, one of the other headlines from the Eagles last game, aside from DeAndre Swift, was the whole sideline exchange between Nick Sirianni and some other members of the Eagles, both coaches and players, and as a result of this and other things, people have been speculating that the Eagles are experiencing some locker room issues, or that Nick Sirianni's lost the locker room or something like that, but Jason Kelce was on WIP radio on Wednesday, and he did his best to shut down that whole notion.
There's a lot of publicity, I guess, being made about sideline yelling matches and guys voicing frustrations. Let me tell you, the best thing that guys can do is voice frustrations. The worst thing you can do is not tell anybody, or maybe tell a guy on the side. I think people talking is the only way you're going to get to the bottom and the root cause of, what needs to be fixed.
So I completely agree with Kelce here. I mean, the only way things are going to get fixed is by communicating, and that emotion on the sidelines, I think, just shows that guys really care. And someone else we know really cares is A.J. Brown. We obviously heard him get emotional last week talking about how much he and his teammates sacrificed for this game and how they want to get these issues fixed, but he may have actually hit a breaking point with this last game, because even though the Eagles won, the offense still had a lot of issues, and Brown was clearly frustrated. So frustrated to the point that he refused to speak to the media after the game, saying that he had nothing nice to say, so he wasn't going to say it. And it seems like he still felt that way on Wednesday, as he reportedly declined to be interviewed again, although he did say he would talk to the media later in the week. And today, it was the same story, as once again, A.J. Brown declined to speak with the media. So it's obviously clear that A.J. is frustrated right now. There has been speculation as to what the reasoning for that is, whether it be just the frustration with the offense not executing, or maybe he's frustrated with the play calling and scheme and the routes that he's being forced to run specifically. Whatever it is, I'm sure we'll find out more when he does finally speak to the media, and I personally don't think him not talking to the media right now is a big deal, but you guys can let me know what you think down in the comments. But again, I really don't see this as a big deal, especially if it's just frustration over how the offense and the team has been performing, because like Blankenship said,
we judge ourselves really hard in this locker room. We're going to get it. It's not like we're just in this slump, we trust one another. We have confidence in everybody, even the coaches. So we're going to get the job done regardless of what it is.
And I honestly think that's the exact right mentality to have, especially coming down the stretch of this season in these last two games before the playoffs. And the first of those two games obviously is a matchup with the Cardinals and former Eagles defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon, and ahead of the game, the Eagles seem to know that Gannon is going to be ready and he's looking for revenge, as Brandon Graham said this on Gannon's return to Philly.
This is the way everything happened, the way everybody kind of, talked about him when he left. I know he feeling, some type of, he want to get back. And so we just got to make sure we go out and do us, man, and play hard. But it is going to be good to see him.
So BG said it there. He's sure that Gannon's going to feel some type of way, and he's going to want to get his get back on Philly, with, of course, Eagles fans not having the nicest things to say about him during his tenure, and especially after he left. But despite the negative perception of Gannon from Eagles fans, that's not how the Eagles players and organization seem to feel about him, as multiple players said this week that they love JG as a coach and they're excited to see him. Both Devontae Maddox and Darius Slay said the same thing, being that they know he's going to have the Cardinals playing really hard for him, especially in this game against his former team. But Eagles defensive end Josh Sweat made sure to make it clear that even though he likes JG, they're not friends once the game starts, saying, quote, "We've got to whoop his ass. We can't let him come in and beat us. But after, it's all love." And in addition to this, Nick Sirianni made sure to make it clear to Gannon that despite them still being close friends, he wishes him nothing but the worst in his return to Philly.
As much as I love Jonathan Gannon, I do. Like, I hired him to be the defense coordinator. We had so many special moments within the past 2 years, and my sentiment towards Jonathan Gannon is not the same of what I hear the city's sentiment is. All right, I love him. All right, and I'm always rooting for him, except for obviously this week. I want him to feel so freaking uncomfortable though when he walks into that, and I'm going to tell him I said this. I want him to feel so uncomfortable, which I'm already sensing that's going to happen when he walks in that stadium, that he never wants to come back to Philly again, even if he left some stuff in his house that he's got to go back and pick up. I want this guy to feel so uncomfortable.
So you gotta love that from Sirianni, and let's hope that the Philly faithful can deliver and make that fraud Jonathan Gannon so uncomfortable he gets distracted during the game and he never wants to come back to the city. And also, let's hope that the Eagles can continue to get back on track by dominating Gannon's Cardinals, and I really do think they have a good chance of doing that, as I see another win coming for the Birds, and in dominating fashion. Now, we're going to talk more about that later in the week, and also other news leading into the matchup, so if you don't want to miss any of that, make sure you subscribe, and also, really importantly, turn on notifications. Also, drop a like down in this video if you did enjoy it and want to show some support, and leave a comment down below just regarding anything I talked about in this video. And if you want to watch another Eagles video recapping the Eagles' win over the Giants, you can go check this out right here. Now, with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys, so thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.